There's so many different drone accessories, but which ones do you really need? Well, need is a pretty strong word, but some of these accessories make your drone flying experience easier, more fun, and also help you get more professional footage. Now, I'll also mention some accessories that I think you don't really need. All of this assuming that you're new to drone flying and you need some inspiration when it comes to drone accessory shopping. Hi everyone, it's Dan here from Drone. I do drone product reviews and aerial videos. Now, if you decide to pick up one of these products that I mentioned in this video, consider choosing one of the links below. It's no extra cost to you and it supports the channel. And for that, I say thank you or Dankeschön. Now, let's get into drone accessories, starting off with ND filters. If you know what ND filters are, you probably want one. I, for example, don't really fly without my ND filters on anymore. Now, if you don't know what ND filters are, very quick high-level overview, they are basically sunglasses for your lens. So they come in these sleek little boxes. So this one here is an ND 1000 that you can pick up for 20 bucks off of Amazon, that fits onto your DJI Air 2S. So you can see they are really just, sunglasses, and they come in different strength, right? So this is 20 bucks, but then if you go for the whole set from DJI, then that's gonna set you back, I think, around $100. Then again, if you purchase the Fly More combo, it comes with 4 ND filters, like 4, 8, 16, and 32. Now, if you don't really know what ND filters do or what is required to use them, I would say that's probably not the first accessory you should go after, just because A, they are pretty expensive, as I just mentioned, and B, they also require a little bit more of a steeper learning curve, simply because you have to fine-tune or manually tune in your different camera settings in order to use them properly. But the end result is really cool because it gives you more professional footage, meaning your video footage is more evenly exposed. So as you're flying in and out of the sun, your camera doesn't try to compensate for more or less light, and therefore you get a more professional looking, cinematic, evenly exposed shot. If this treat your interest, check out some of my other videos where I talk more about ND filters, what they are, which ones to use, and which ones to buy, and what to do with the footage afterwards. Moving on to range extenders. Range extenders are super affordable. They typically cost you around $10, and they come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, depending on which drone model and therefore also controller you have. Now, this is the one, classic one, $10 off of Amazon for the Mavic Air. The original one, if you remember the controller, it has like the 2 antennas and you just slide it on there. This is just a piece of copper that amplifies the signal. Now for the newer ones, like the DJI Air 2S, the controllers don't have the antennas anymore. The antennas are just built into the phone holder. So then you get these and you really just slide them on. And again, there's just some copper bars here that amplify the signal. For the Mavic Air or some older models, I think picking up a range extender for 10 bucks is a really good idea, just because, well, it extends your range, it's super affordable, and it's easy to install. And even if you don't really need to fly that far, you just get a smoother signal back from the drone. So that really helps with flying. On the newer ones, like the Air 2S or the DJI Mavic Air 2, the range is incredible. I think it easily flies 7,000 feet, without a range extender. So you could argue that you don't really need one, because we all want to be responsible drone pilots, and like 7,000 feet in my experience is like as far as you can realistically actually still see the drone. Beyond that, yeah, you're kind of like guessing where it is, but you can't really see the tiny little dot in the sky anymore. So I would argue you don't really need them. However, if you have some situations where maybe there's a lot of interference, or I don't know, there's like objects somewhat in the foreground blocking the signal, these ones can help you get a stronger signal, even if you're just 5,000 or 6,000 feet away. With these ones, you still get a strong HD signal back to your drone. Now, the most boring one, but the most essential one are batteries. Batteries are just like, you just need them. Sorry, you just need them. I mean, think about it. All your flight time is limited by the battery life. So if you only have one battery and one drone, then, and maybe you can't fly right from your backyard. Maybe you have to drive somewhere to the beach or so for 20 minutes. So then you're driving for 40 minutes back and forth so you can fly for 19 minutes or 31 minutes for that matter. Anyways, I would say make it worth your while. Pick up a couple of extra batteries depending on what drone you have. They're cheaper or more expensive. And for the DJI Mavic Air 2 or the Air 2S, those ones run around $115 off of Amazon. And then for the older ones, for the Mavic Air, I think they're around $49 or $50. So I have at least 3 or 4 batteries for pretty much any one of my camera equipments, but especially for the drones. It's just so limiting to not have enough flight time and therefore practice time. So highly recommend just bite the bullet and just pick up a couple of extra batteries. Now the next one is super fun, a drop system. Now what's a drop system? It is a $35 accessory. They have different options, but I've been using this for a while now and it's worked really well. It's basically also a piece of landing gear if you really need that, but all it is this tiny little plastic compartment here that gets charged via micro USB, and the whole thing just attaches to the bottom of your drone like that. Boom. But it has this tiny little hook and it sits right underneath the flashlight system of the drone, and there's a little light sensor in there. So when you typically on the FN button on the Mavic Air 2 or the DJI Air 2S to tap it or double tap depending on which config you have, you can turn on the flashlight. You can fly your drone out and then you can turn on the flashlight, and what that will do is like turn on this little motor in here, which all it does, it starts rotating, and since this is a little hook, like the hook will face downwards, and if you have something attached to that hook, it will drop. So do you have an old toy or a piece of Lego that you want to get rid of? Drop it from 400 feet and see what happens. Or my preferred use case, drone fishing. Super fun, right? So you just get a really long fishing line and still have it attached to a fishing rod. It's not like you're reeling in the fish with the drone. You're just using your drone as a tool to get the hook like really far out there, right? Further than you could normally cast with any type of surf casting rod, right? And then you fly your drone like 300 feet out, you drop the hook, and then you're in really deep waters and you can catch some really cool fish. For a $35 accessory, you can have a lot of creative fun with a dropping or air dropping system. All right, for the next one, we'll need a little bit of space. Boom, boom, boom. Because the next ones are backpacks. I reckon if you have a drone, extra batteries, and some of these accessories, you'll need a backpack, right? There's obviously a million options out there. I have got my 2 favorite ones here, which are the Low Pro slingshot, which basically only has one sling. So it doesn't really hold a lot, but actually I did a trip to Africa with it and was able to put a GoPro, the DJI Osmo Pocket, extra batteries obviously, and the Mavic Air extra batteries for the drone controller, etc. ND filters, the whole 9 yards. So highly recommend this backpack. However, it is space limiting. So if you need more space and want to go more rugged, this is the Low Pro AW352 or something like that. Check down below, I'll obviously put the description there. This thing is a beast, really holds a lot. It just opens up in the back, which I think is pretty cool. So and it also opens up in the top and on the sides. But basically, yeah, you can have your camera lenses in here, then you can slide your drone in here and then grab it from the side pocket. You can put a DSLR there. Obviously mine is recording this right now, so but that would normally live here. And then yeah, you have space for some bigger lenses, GoPro accessories, whatever you need, right? This you have space. And then there's here a little bit of extra space for some cables. Your laptop fits in there. Speaking of laptops, can't fit in the slingshot, right? So I have the iPad Pro, whatever, 12.9 inch, doesn't fit in here, which is a bummer because you can fly the drone with that thing, and we're gonna talk about that in a second, but that is really a bummer. Yeah, this thing is a beast. It is a bit heavy, I would say, for a backpack, but I've traveled with it a lot now, and yeah, you can really stuff a lot of things into this thing. It's awesome. I mean, I think this one is like $150 or so, $160. I feel like that's a lot of money for a small backpack, but it is very practical. The other one, I think is $280, or is it $300? I don't know, I'll put up a number on the screen. Either way, the bottom line is you will need a backpack. There's obviously a ton of other options out there. I've got a couple of other backpacks in the office. I'll put the links down in the description as well. And there's some cheaper options in there as well. Now the next one is a camera mount, and maybe mounts in general, but let's start off with the camera mount. So again, this is really, really simple. I think it's $10, maybe it's $17. But basically, I mean, you know, if you've ever used a GoPro, this will look familiar. And all it is, we gotta unmount or uninstall the drop system. So all a camera mount really is, like, it goes in the center of the drone. That's really the challenging part, because if you don't put it in the center and you put it too far forward or backward, and you put something heavy on it, like a GoPro Hero 10, then the drone will tilt slightly forward because you've moved the center of gravity of the drone, aka it will just start flying away from you. And you maybe can steer against it, but depending on how bad you installed it, you may not be able to. Therefore, probably not the most beginner-friendly accessory, but pretty affordable and pretty easy once you figured it out. And basically, all you do is like you mount a GoPro onto your drone or something else, but like a GoPro is probably the most common use case, or an Insta360, for example. Now the question comes to mind, why mount a camera on your drone? Your drone has a camera, right? So for example, with the Insta360, I mean, the answer is pretty simple. Your drone doesn't shoot 360. Now with the Insta360, obviously it does. So you can, you know, do a really cool circle and then just post the 360 video on YouTube, and then people can look around, like either with their phone or just on the computer and stuff, but like it's really cool. Or if you have the Mavic Air 2 or like some drone that doesn't have like a super awesome camera, and you happen to have a really good GoPro, like the GoPro Hero 10, then all of a sudden you have a flying 5.4K at 60 frames per second. Now that is really cool, and you'll have much better low light capabilities than the inbuilt tiny sensor of the drone. Now, do you really need it? I don't know, but if you have a use case for mounting your action cam onto the drone, this is a very cheap and affordable way of doing it. And since we are on the topic of mounts, two more things I wanted to mention. One is this thing, which I've used on a trip cycling around an island. And this is just a little mount that goes around the handlebar of your bicycle, right? And then, where's the controller? Here. And then the controller just clips onto this. I mean, I have, you know, I have all this stuff on my controller, but if I took it off, basically the controller just mounts there. And then obviously you still have your phone in here. But the really cool thing is you set the drone to like follow you while you're riding around on your bike or whatever. And then you have the controller mounted on your handlebar, so you can see what the drone is seeing, you can see if the drone is losing you or if it's following you properly, and if need be, you can make quick adjustments. So that's really cool. I think it's around 25 bucks. Again, I put the number up on the screen and the link down below. If you have a lot of follow me use cases, or if you have a electric scooter I really want one, but I don't have one. But if you have one, this is gonna be brilliant. This is gonna be super awesome because you can just mount your controller, let the drone follow you. That's awesome. And then, as I mentioned before, like if you have an iPad or a bigger iPad, you can fly with it, obviously. And I recommend doing so because then you have a much bigger screen, so you can much easier see actually what's happening and things you want to film than on a tiny little phone. For this, actually, I put two things together. So one is like this little base plate here that really just slides in just like as if it were a phone, like that. And then it has like a classic like camera mount kind of thing, right? With like a little ball to adjust, okay? And then I bought this 12.9-inch iPad holder. I put both links below because this is not a single product. These are basically two different ones. But then you can just grab your iPad, and as you can see, I mean, this easily fits. This was hard to find because normally they design these for the 10-inch iPads and not the really big ones. As you can see, this is a little wobbly. So what I normally do is like I get a little lanyard that I attach to it, and then it holds like that. But then you have a massive screen to fly with, which I think is awesome. Obviously, you know, if you just have a minute to catch sunset, this takes a little bit of time to set up. So for those situations, I would probably still fly with my phone. But if I have a whole like flying afternoon planned, then definitely flying with the iPad is much, much more fun. All right. And finally, some stuff that I don't really recommend buying. I mean, for one, it's landing pads. I don't know why. People seem to love landing pads. I bought two of these. I don't know why. I've never opened them. But let's see if we can. Oh boy, I'm destroying the box. Okay, that's fine. At least take a look. I mean, I would actually recommend to learn how to land and take off from your hand, just because it's more versatile, right? Because you can't really always use a landing pad. Like if you're like on a rocky piece of, I don't know, rocks, or on a boat, or I don't know, a jet ski, kayak, whatever, right? So landing pad doesn't really help you. I mean, I have to say, as I said, I've never opened this and I owned this for a year. It looks cool. Oh, and it's reversible. Wow, I'm quite impressed. Maybe landing pads are cool. Okay, interesting. Yeah, this is definitely good. I think this one was also quite expensive. It was 15 or 20 bucks. It folds quite nicely. But yeah, as I said, it is a bit heavy, and obviously you have to find space for it in your backpack. And then it also makes your backpack, well, heavier, right? So there's that. There's another one. Might as well give that away. If you want it, subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment and I'll send it to you. You're welcome. And then there's another one. More landing pads. Let's take a quick look here. So this one, I guess, is the other option for like, this is more lightweight. Whoa, it's huge. I mean, yeah, also reversible. I think I prefer that because that's more solid. But this one, I suppose, does the trick. Basically, why would you need to use a landing pad? I mean, if you constantly fly at the beach, right? You obviously don't want to take off or land on the beach because sand will get into all the electronics here, right? So I think for those situations, oh, I'm starting to not like this one because, okay, it's not that hard. But yeah, so if you have a lot of, I don't know, gravel or sand or dirt that you're taking off and landing on, maybe, as I said, I would recommend to instead just learn how to take off from your hand. So basically hold the drone in one, you get the controller, right? You just hold it like this kind of thing, you kind of like balance it. And then you have your phone here and you just push the the takeoff button, right? And then once it's up in the air, you take over with both hands and you fly. Last but not least, low noise propellers for your drone. I would highly recommend those because typically they're also not too expensive, like $12 or $15. And I mean, drones are super noisy. I like to attract the least attention possible. So low noise propellers, I think, are worth it. And then also propeller guards. I don't know why I bought them. I've never used them. If you're interested, I'll make a video, but you fly a drone outside. There shouldn't be anything that you can fly against. So I don't know. Anyway, those are the drone accessories I use the most, or stay away from for that matter. If this was helpful or gave you some inspiration in any way, shape or form, consider subscribing to the channel. I post new drone videos pretty much every week and product reviews every 2 weeks or so. Leave me a comment down below if you think I missed anything. And otherwise, I will see you next week.